Hello and welcome to another episode of Put Me in Coach on episode 112, Diamondbacks versus Guardians Game 3. Lineup of today, Gabe Marino playing catcher, Kendall Marte playing DH, Max Kempler playing left field, Tim Tawa at center field, Vargas at second base, and Tyler Lottler at first base. And then Adrian Del Castro came in to pitch hit in the ninth inning and stuff, and that's pretty much it. To be honest enough, not a lot of hitting. The only thing is enough of the Diamondbacks only got 2 hits in the whole game. That's not how to I don't know how you can win games with that way and stuff. It's possible, like it's just gotta be lucky in some ways to do that, but there's no chance. And fortunately enough, that just shows enough they didn't win this game and stuff. They won the series over the Guardians, but they didn't go for the sweep. So we were going for a sweep because that's the only case enough that we gotta win every game we can and stuff. Go for the sweep, everything and stuff. It's just that game just did not happen and stuff, and their offense just not showing it and stuff. And I can tell you why of enough, but we can't get there. Well, actually, let's go there. I'm sorry, I'm doing my notes. I'm trying to do my best of enough because I got other things going on as well and stuff. Starting pitching. So I'm gonna go pitching right now. Just letting you know on that. Starting pitching for the Diamondbacks, Morel Kelly. He went 5 innings, gave up 8 hits, struck out 5, walked 4, and gave up 5 runs. So not the best enough. He did some little damage off the Guardians, but not so much and stuff. And then fortunately enough, the person did literally make it much harder for the Diamondbacks. It's the starting pitcher for the Guardians, and that is Gavin Williams. He went 6 innings, gave up only 1 hit, and struck 10, huge for him, and stuff. Walked once and gave no runs. So that just shows a lot enough what's the difference of Williams to Kelly and stuff. Again, I think Kelly did the best he can overall and stuff, but I just thinking enough of just the Guardians were just ready for it and stuff, and I just thinking Kelly just did not really perform well where enough of Gav Williams did and stuff. Honestly enough, again, another Guardians pitcher I have seen, not at Cleveland overall and stuff, but I actually saw Gavin Williams actually pitch at Oracle Park. That's where the Giants are at in San Francisco, and so there was even a time when I already even said about I saw Tanner Bybee as well and Sacramento playing the Athletics and stuff, because there was a time where I went to California with my parents, and we went back-to-back games to the Giants against at the Oracle Park against the Guardians, and Gavin Williams was pitching on that game against Logan Webb and stuff. Great game, by the way, and stuff. Giants did win that game overall and stuff, and that was a great game. I really I had a great time at Oracle Park. It was a great game. I love seeing Logan Paul. He's their ace on that team and stuff, and home team won overall and stuff. And then fortunately enough, seeing Tanner Bybee at against the Athletics, because the next day we went to Sacramento to see the Athletics, and fortunately enough, seeing back-to-back Guardians and stuff, it was funny because it was at the end of the series against the Giants, and then their next series was against the Athletics, and so that was happening and stuff. And then that was a time when we saw Jeffrey Springers is the pitcher for the Athletics, and he did really good. And stuff. Athletics did win. So, fortunately enough, I did see the Guardians lost back-to-back games and stuff. And these were the two pitchers I actually saw, Tanner Bybee and Kevin Williams. On those days and stuff. I think both of them did good. I think Gavin Williams did good against the Giants overall and stuff. Obviously, he's like one of the highest prospect, pitchers on that team and stuff. I would definitely say he's maybe the ace of the team. I don't know. It's between him and Bybee and stuff. They have other good pitchers on that as well, like Parker Missick, pitching yesterday and stuff. Like, they still have a very solid starting pitcher for the Guardians and stuff. That's why they're in second place in their division, not over the White Sox and stuff. But, it's just kind of interesting to think about that and stuff. And then, and I think Tanner Bybee got a little lit up from the Athletics because, that offense was absolutely insane. The Athletics are not doing so well this year, but fortunately enough, seeing Nick Kurtz the first time, seeing him hitting home runs and stuff, like, it was a wild game overall and stuff. So that is that. So it is interesting to see these pitchers live before and stuff. And Gavin Williams did phenomenal in this game and stuff, and he was very close enough to having perfect game, and I would again explain that more of enough of his perfect game literally got ruined in a weird way. We'll talk about it and stuff. So it's not like a bad thing or anything and stuff. It's just a thing, And then the bullpen for the Diamondbacks, Taylor Clark and Ryan Thompson. That's pretty much it, and they did pretty good too, overall, and stuff. So that is that for pitching. We're gonna go scoring. Fortunately enough, we are going to talk about all the scoring, but fortunately enough, all the scoring was the Guardians. So Diamondbacks did not get nothing and stuff. So Patrick Bailey hit a solo home run to make it 1-0 bottom of the third. Chase Luter, with the RBI single to make it 2-0 bottom of the third. And then he also, again, the same person, also hit a 2 RBI double to make it 4-0 bottom of the fifth. And then Kyle Machoroto hit a RBI single to make it 5-0 bottom of the fifth, and the final score is 0-5. Now the record is 59-53. We're still up there and stuff. I think we're tied with the Phillies now in the wild card spot and stuff. Not too bad, but we would like to get the sweep, but fortunately enough, can't win every game and stuff. I'll take the win over the series overall and stuff, so that's a positive. But yeah, it was just of it, and I would definitely say of enough of there was a lot of struggles in this. Now we're going in progress and stuff. Again, I thinking just of performance enough for Gavin Williams enough to be heated and having a great rhythm and just go out there and dominate against the Diamondbacks overall and stuff. I thinking the Diamondbacks just had a hard time with Gavin Williams pitching and stuff, and that's going to show all the time if a pitcher is going to do well overall and stuff. And so the Diamondbacks just not getting the most of it and stuff. I would definitely say enough. Let's just talk about pitching really right away and stuff for progress. They just need to keep going and stuff. And then Kelly just needed to do a lot better and stuff. But fortunately enough, I would definitely say for this at the end, the only time of Kelly actually didn't really struggle a lot and stuff because the game actually had a rain delay and stuff. So that's where enough it was a little hard for Kelly, where enough of he was struggling, especially enough of he was trying to get a good grip off the ball and stuff. There was a lot of walks and a lot of balls were not happening and stuff. Even Gavin Williams was having problems too, but fortunately later on, till the time when rain really happen a lot and stuff, that's where enough they called the game a little of rain delay and stuff. Later on, they played the game and have the game ended at the ninth and stuff. But the most biggest thing of enough this whole game, besides we were very close of trying to win the game at the end, it was base load when Adrian DeCastro came to the play. If he hit a grand slam, would be one game in the game and maybe have a chance to get back in the game overall. But fortunately enough, that didn't happen because he ground out and got the last out and stuff, and that's how we lost the game and stuff. But the most biggest thing is with Tim Tawa, with his I guess they call it the unrule. I don't know what it is some unrule thing you cannot do against somebody with a perfect game and stuff. Unwritten rule, I meant to say. Sorry. I was trying to figure out enough of there's another words into that and stuff. It was unwritten rule. Where enough of if there's like a thing enough of it will be, it's like showing like disrespectful to the pitcher if you're going to bunt against the pitcher while they're having a perfect game. And Gavin Williams did have a perfect game. It did get ruined by Tim Tawa. Fortunately enough, he did try to bunt overall and stuff. Didn't work, by the way, and stuff. Two people got really upset about this and stuff. Patrick Bailey, the catcher for the Guardians, he used to be on the Giants. I actually saw him at Oracle Park when I saw the Giants too. And then somehow the second baseman also, Ricario or something, Ricario, I don't know. He also got upset about it too and stuff. They were like, because they were like looking like, what the heck? Like, what is this? Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I don't know. And stuff. Yeah, it's just like, fortunately enough, it was a foul ball tip, so fortunately enough, it just didn't go the way. But fortunately enough, later on, Tim Tawa did swung and got a base hit, so that's how the perfect game ended. From Tim Tawa, so he probably learned his lesson enough of like, okay, you didn't like the foul ball, I'll go and swing the bat and stuff. And fortunately enough, it ended at a base hit and stuff. So fortunately enough, it did ruined on a base hit and then a bunt overall and stuff. I don't know. It's just like I get the both ways enough of it. You gotta understand of enough. Like the only thing what I'm trying to say as well to this, because I want to make sense a little bit here and there and stuff, but I'm not trying to defend Tim Tawa because he's on my Diamondbacks, whatever, and stuff. I'm not trying to do that. Just letting you know on that and stuff, because you can go either in both ways. I understand where Tim Tawa is going through, and I understand where the Guardians are coming through. So I'm not on anyone's side on this. Just letting you know, because like you can hear me enough of I am kind of defending Tim Tawa a little bit and stuff, because the only thing I'm kind of defending himself as well, because I can see why he thought it was an idea to go for a bunt on a perfect game and stuff. And so that's the only reason and of it. So don't give me a little harsh on blah 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 here and there and stuff. Like just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. So to me, the only thing why I think enough of why Tim Tawa thought of this, and also hearing more on Lovello of in his interview where enough of it was Tim Tawa's idea overall of enough of, hey, like, do you thinking like it would be fine if I can go for a bunt while I'm out at the plate and stuff? And Lavello and probably other coaches as well approved it of enough of like, hey, do what you got to do and stuff. So just understanding of enough of how the way of the Diamondbacks were working against the Guardians back of the two other games they played and stuff. Against with the first game, Tanner Bybee and stuff. He went to the 8th inning and stuff with like a good chunk of like scoring enough. I think in like the Guardians was winning like 2-0 or 3-0 and stuff, and then somehow the Diamondbacks came back and won the game and literally took Tanner Bybee at the end of the 8th inning and stuff, and then went into the bullpen and stuff, and then did a lot better on that way and stuff. So they found some type of strategy to take Tanner Bybee out and stuff, and then going for and hitting off their bullpen and stuff, and that really successful for them to get a win and have a comeback and stuff. Same thing. I wouldn't definitely say with Peter Messick as well, because I think in both pitchers on that game from yesterday did a good job as well of enough. So both of them, so they didn't really do that much. Fortunately enough, the Guardians did do more damage on the bullpen for the Diamondbacks in that game, but still enough of the Diamondbacks still get the win overall. And then for this game, they just thought enough of like, wow, like Gavin Williams is doing good. He is having a perfect game. How we can have this some type of strategy to get him out, lose his perfect game, get some offense into this game and get back into this game overall and stuff. So that was a typical strategy I think Tim Tawa was thinking about and stuff, because if you take him out and stuff and then going into their bullpen, they might do a lot better and stuff. So that was the other biggest strategy he was going for and stuff. And fortunately enough, yes, he got a base hit off of him, losing the perfect game for Gavin Williams and stuff. So that happened, and so, but fortunately enough, Diamondbacks did not get any runs or anything, so it didn't really work out the way we wanted it and stuff. So that's that. But yeah, I understand. Like I thinking you're trying to understand enough of like, just being very respectful to your teammates and stuff. All your pitchers and stuff. You want your team or your pitcher to have a perfect game and stuff, and it's just a little lame enough to have a bunt to literally ruin it and overall and stuff. So I totally understand where the Guardians are up to and stuff, but you gotta understand enough of the competitive of the sport and stuff, and we're trying to win the game and stuff. So we're trying to have some type of strategy to literally win games and try to get back into the game and win the game and all this stuff, like all these typical things. So that is that. And then the crazy thing is enough of when the rain was still like pouring rain, crazy, like cats and dogs. Somehow of enough, there was some kind of little talking, blah, 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 here and there. I think Tim Tawa, like, talked to Rukio or something with it. He probably didn't like that and stuff. And because he probably saw something about and just like, hey, like, I saw you didn't like that and stuff, blah, 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 here and there and stuff. And then somehow enough, I don't know who, Guardians side coach on the side of a door. I don't know who he is and stuff, but he got pissed. Like, he was mad as heck. He was not, like, he was ready to go out there and probably some fist fight here and there and stuff. Like, he was not going down because he was really strapping around and stuff, and people really had to bring him out, settle him down a little bit and stuff because he was rattled up hard and stuff. And then there was a little discussion enough when both of the dugouts were out about and stuff out of the dugout on the field, having an argument and stuff. Fortunately enough for Lavello, is having a great conversation with Stephen Vogt. Fortunately enough, Stephen Vogt was a former Diamondbacks player and stuff while Lavello was the manager. So it's kind of interesting enough seeing these two men are managers for their other side of their teams and stuff, and they can relate to each other and stuff. They're friends. They can understand what's going to happen and stuff, And I think Lavello just probably says, like, hey, we're trying to be competitive. We're trying to win the game, so we got to do what we got to do and all these typical things and stuff. So I think that's pretty much that and stuff. I think they settled down and, got back together and, saying, like, hey, it's okay. It's just a game overall and stuff. You guys are winning 5-0. Let's just keep this to ourselves, whatever, and stuff. So that's all that and stuff. The only thing that was crazy because it was raining at the same time and the tarp on the field was happening while all of this was happening. So it was like all a little messy situation and stuff. But fortunately enough, it ended. Everybody's happy. Some people were probably pissed off because of what Tim Tawa did. I don't think Tim Tawa did a bad thing. It's just I don't thinking it was the best thing he should do, but I don't thinking it was a disrespectful thing. Like I thinking he was trying to be competitive and stuff. That's the only case when I'm going for and stuff because it was the 6th inning and stuff, and he has a perfect game. So trying to get him out of the game at a certain time and stuff, and I think that's why Tim Tebow went for that and stuff. But fortunately enough, it didn't really work that way and blah 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 here and there. It really doesn't even matter because the Guardians won 5-0. So to be honest enough, it didn't really work out in the Diamondbacks way. So I don't know. It's a lot. I get it and stuff. Like to be honest enough, I can go on and on with this and stuff because they even showed what happened to Kurt Schillings in 2001 where he had a perfect game. Somebody ruined it with a perfect game with a bunt and stuff. And fortunately, it did work. It did really piss Kurt Schilling because I get it. You're trying to work hard for it and stuff. And it's lame. Somebody did a bunt off of you and stuff. Like I totally understand that and stuff. I don't think people expected that was gonna happen and stuff. I don't know. It's just like it's here and there and stuff. I get enough of the both teams are trying to be more competitive than what they are and stuff. And I understand enough of the pitcher will be pissed for a person to literally go for a bunt to ruin a perfect game. Like I totally understand that. But fortunately enough, again, like the bunt didn't work, and then he got a base hit off of it. So it was like I don't know what you prefer. Do you prefer a bunt or you want a base hit? Fortunately enough, he got a base hit overall. So it really doesn't even matter. So whatever, anything of it and stuff. Fortunately enough, just recording of today and stuff. Today is gonna be Monday and stuff. This was yesterday game overall and stuff. I am actually going to the game today. Padres versus Diamondbacks game 1 for episode 113 overall and stuff. I'm super excited going to the game today. I'm going with 2 of my sisters, and one of my sister husband is my brother-in-law and stuff. The only thing I had the idea enough of going to this game with my siblings and not my parents and stuff because gotta understand enough of Monday I go to ping pong with my dad and stuff. Fortunately enough, my dad is probably at ping pong right now because it is around 3 o'clock, and at that time we'd be at the at the club playing ping pong and stuff. Well, not playing, it's kind of like a lesson and stuff, like, you know, doing warm-ups and workout, whatever and stuff. So that's happening right now. So he's doing by himself and stuff. I mostly do it. So I'm actually taking a day off on ping pong so I can go to the game with my siblings and stuff. And the only thing enough of I invited my siblings to this game and stuff because fortunately enough, my siblings are not very into baseball or the Diamondbacks more than me and stuff. My brother-in-law is in the Diamondbacks as well, not a whole lot, but he's still like a fan overall and stuff. Same thing with my sisters, were enough of like they would still like enjoy a baseball game overall and stuff. Like I've been to games with my siblings before and stuff, and I mostly have a great time with them and stuff. The only thing today enough of I'm going with them, and I invited them to this game today because it's going to be a Harry Potter theme and stuff. Obviously enough, I am a big Harry Potter geek type of situation, nerd away, whatever, blah blah blah, here and there and stuff. A lot of people love Harry Potter. If you don't like Harry Potter, that's totally fine. I'm not going to like say anything, that's your opinion and stuff. You can like whatever you want and stuff. There's nothing to judge about and stuff. Fortunately enough, you're missing out good things about and stuff. Harry Potter is a big franchise to really like and stuff, especially enough like Warner Brothers, Universal and stuff, going to Harry Potter world and stuff. Like it's pretty legit, not gonna lie and stuff. And if you guys absolutely want to see a little bit more Harry Potter things for me and stuff, go to my main channel as well, to 200 Batman. Fortunately enough, on that channel I did movies and stuff, so I did talk about all of the Harry Potter movies and giving my opinions and fun scenes to relate to and stuff. So all of the typical that and stuff. If you're into it, please go check that out. If so, and subscribe to my channels as well. So I don't really shout out to my other channels and even this channel to subscribe if you want to see more contents and stuff. So that's pretty much of that and stuff. And I am a big Harry Potter fan and stuff. And there's a reason, and unfortunately enough, that's why I invited my siblings to the game, because they're also a big Harry Potter fan and stuff. Fortunately enough, all of them read the books and stuff. I never read the books. I tried to. I'm not a big reader overall and stuff, but fortunately enough, I know a lot more than I can by watching the movies and stuff. The movies are great. I'm excited for the TV show on HBO and stuff later on, coming this December and stuff. So it's really excited to be a Harry Potter fan at the time and stuff. The Fantastic Beasts movies overall, it's just the wizarding world of what J.K. Rowling made into our world and stuff is fantastic overall and stuff. So that's pretty much of that. I will come through enough to talk about the game going to happen today and stuff. So I'm going to edit this and then be done and post this even for today and stuff. So you see this game, this episode today, and you'll see the game I'm going to as well on today, but maybe later on, maybe midnight, whatever and stuff. So that's all that and stuff. So that's pretty much of all the things I want to talk about on this episode and stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.